You've been formally accused of sabotaging a sale. We have to launch an internal investigation." My manager's words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I sat there in his office, staring at the motivational posters on his wall while my world tilted sideways. Sabotage? Me? I had just finished the best quarter of my entire career. "Who filed the complaint?" I asked, though my voice sounded strange and distant. He shuffled papers on his desk. "I can't reveal that information during an ongoing investigation." But I already knew. Naomi. 3 days ago, I had stepped away from my desk for 5 minutes. When I returned, my biggest client of the month was sitting across from her, pen in hand, signing papers. My $85,000 commission had just walked into her pocket. She looked up and smiled at me. That sweet, innocent smile that fooled everyone else, everyone except me, because I knew exactly what she was doing. I had known for months, and now she was trying to destroy me completely. The difference was, I had been preparing for this moment. While she thought she was playing chess, I had been building an entire case file. "Game on, Naomi. My name is Alex, and I've worked at Premier Auto Sales for 3 years. I started as the new girl who didn't know a transmission from a tailpipe. But I learned fast, really fast. By my 2nd year, I was consistently in the top 3 sellers. By my 3rd year, I was number 1. Naomi started the same month I did. She was everything I wasn't, tall, confident, and charming. She could make anyone laugh within 5 minutes of meeting them. While I spent my lunch breaks studying car specifications and financing options, she spent hers networking and making friends. For the first year, we actually got along. We'd grab coffee together and complain about difficult customers. She'd help me pick out professional outfits, and I'd share my study notes. But something changed when I started winning the monthly sales awards. At first, it was subtle. A rolled eye here, a sarcastic comment there. Then she started questioning my methods in team meetings. "Alex always seems to get the easy customers," she'd say with a laugh. "Some people just have all the luck." Luck had nothing to do with it. But explaining that would have made me look defensive. So I stayed quiet and kept winning. The first real warning sign came during our quarterly review meeting. Our sales manager was praising my numbers when Naomi interrupted. "I think we should look at the quality of sales, not just quantity," she said sweetly. "Anyone can rush people into buying cars they can't afford." The room went silent. Every eye turned to me. I felt my cheeks burn, but I kept my voice calm. "All my customers pass financing approval. My return rate is the lowest on the team." "Of course it is." Naomi laughed. "You're very thorough with paperwork." She made thorough sound like a dirty word. After the meeting, my manager pulled me aside. "Don't take it personally," he said. "Naomi's just competitive. It's good for business." Competitive, right? That night, I went home and started a notebook. Just a simple, spiral-bound journal where I wrote down every interaction, every comment, every weird coincidence that happened around Naomi. I had no idea how valuable that notebook would become. By the end of the month, I had filled 12 pages with her behavior patterns. She wasn't just competitive, she was planning something. The first major incident happened on a busy Saturday. I had spent 2 weeks nurturing a lead, a young couple looking for their first luxury car. They were nervous about the price, but excited about the features. I had scheduled their final appointment for 2 p.m. At 1:45, I stepped away to grab the paperwork from the printer. When I came back, Naomi was sitting at my desk talking to my clients. "Alex got called away for an emergency," she was saying. "But don't worry, I can handle everything from here." I stood there for a moment, watching her work. She was smooth, I had to give her that. Within minutes, she had them laughing and nodding along. "Actually, I'm back," I said, walking over with a smile. Naomi's face flickered with something. Annoyance? Before the sweet smile returned. "Oh, perfect. I was just keeping them company." My clients looked confused. "Emergency?" the husband asked. "Just a small mix-up," I said quickly. "Let's get you into that car you've been dreaming about." But I could see the doubt in their eyes. By the time I finished the sale, they seemed less excited. They bought the car, but the magic was gone. Naomi had planted just enough uncertainty to ruin the experience. I started paying closer attention after that, really watching her moves. I noticed she always seemed to know which clients I was working with. She'd casually walk by when I was on important phone calls. She'd strike up conversations with my customers when I stepped away. Most concerning of all, she started helping me with deals that didn't need help. "I mentioned you to the Johnson family," she'd say casually. "Told them you might be too busy to give them proper attention, but I could handle their account if needed." Or, "That nice elderly couple seemed overwhelmed by all the technical stuff you were explaining. I simplified it for them." Every time she helped, something went wrong. Customers got confused about pricing. Financing fell through at the last minute. People who seemed ready to buy suddenly needed more time to think. But she was so sweet about it. So helpful and concerned. "Poor Alex," she'd sigh to other coworkers. "She works so hard, but sometimes I think she overwhelms people with too much information." Other people started nodding along. Maybe Alex was a bit intense. Maybe she did talk too much about engine specs and safety ratings. I watched my reputation shift slowly, one helpful comment at a time. The notebook became my lifeline. Every interaction went in there, with dates and times. March 15th. Naomi told the Morrison family I was in meetings all day when I was actually on the showroom floor. March 22nd. She mentioned to 3 different customers that I was probably too busy for walk-ins. April 3rd. She offered to help with my biggest lead of the month. Then somehow the customer's financing got mixed up. I started taking screenshots of our customer management system. If someone's contact information got changed or their status got updated incorrectly, I had proof of the original data. My coworker Tyler noticed me taking notes during meetings. "What's with the journal?" he asked one day. "Just keeping track of my goals," I said. Tyler nodded approvingly. "Smart. I should do that too." If only he knew what I was really tracking. The patterns became impossible to ignore. Every time I was close to a major sale, something unexpected would happen. Customers would get calls with updated information that contradicted what I had told them. Appointments would get mysteriously rescheduled, and somehow Naomi always seemed to benefit from the confusion. The breakthrough came when I decided to test my theory. I created a fake customer, made up a name, backstory, and contact information. Then I casually mentioned to a few coworkers that this high-value client was coming in next week to look at our most expensive models. I made sure Naomi overheard the conversation. Within 2 days, she was asking questions about my new client. "So exciting about your big sale coming up," she said. "I hope nothing goes wrong." That phrase sent chills down my spine. I hope nothing goes wrong. Like she was already planning for something to go wrong. I watched her carefully over the next few days. She kept checking the appointment schedule. She asked our receptionist about incoming calls for me. She even volunteered to work late that week, which was completely unlike her. The day of my fake appointment, I called in sick. Then I drove to the parking lot across the street and waited. Sure enough, at exactly the appointment time, I saw Naomi through the showroom windows. She was pacing by the entrance, checking her phone, looking frustrated. She had been planning to intercept my fake client, but the client who never existed never showed up. I sat in my car, heart pounding, finally understanding the full scope of what I was dealing with. Armed with this knowledge, I started setting more traps. I would mention fake appointments in casual conversation, then watch Naomi's reaction. Every single time, she found a reason to be available during those exact time slots. I started varying my lunch schedule randomly. If I usually ate at noon, I'd go at 11:30 or 12:30 instead. Naomi's lunch break started shifting too, always about 15 minutes after mine. The most disturbing discovery was her access to my client files. I noticed small changes in my customer notes. Nothing major, just tiny edits that would make follow-up calls more difficult. A wrong phone number digit here, an incorrect preference there. When I checked the system logs, all the changes traced back to Naomi's login. She wasn't just intercepting my customers. She was actively sabotaging my existing relationships. I started making backup copies of everything. Every client contact, every note, every important detail got saved to my personal files. My notebook grew thicker. The evidence pile got stronger. And Naomi had no idea I was building a case against her. She thought she was the hunter. But I was about to become the trap. The monthly sales meeting became a battleground. I'm concerned about some of the practices I've been seeing, Naomi announced during the open discussion portion. I think we need to establish clearer boundaries about client ownership. Everyone looked confused. We already had clear policies about lead assignment and customer follow-up. What kind of boundaries? Our manager asked. Naomi glanced at me, then continued. Well, sometimes customers get confused when multiple people contact them. It might be better if we had a system to prevent overlap. Overlap. She made it sound like I was stepping on her territory. Can you give us a specific example? Our manager pressed. Oh, I don't want to call anyone out, Naomi said with that innocent smile. I just think clearer communication would help everyone. But her message was clear. Someone on the team was causing problems. Someone was confusing customers and creating overlap. I raised my hand. I think our current system works well. Every customer interaction is logged in the CRM. If there are specific issues, we should address them directly. Absolutely, Naomi agreed quickly. Direct communication is so important. After the meeting, 3 different coworkers approached me privately. Is everything okay between you and Naomi? One asked. The seeds of doubt were officially planted. I decided to go completely underground. No more casual mentions of big clients. No more sharing excitement about potential sales. I became a gray rock, boring, unremarkable, invisible. During team discussions, I only spoke when directly asked a question. I stopped volunteering for training sessions or mentoring new hires. When Naomi made her little comments, I just nodded and smiled. You've been quiet lately, my manager observed during a one-on-one meeting. Just focused on my work, I replied. Your numbers are still strong, but you seem different. Different how? Less engaged. The team dynamic has shifted. I wanted to scream. The team dynamic had shifted because one person was systematically undermining another. But I just nodded. I'll try to be more participative, I said. Meanwhile, my secret documentation continued. Every suspicious interaction, every customer complaint that didn't make sense, every time Naomi happened to be in the right place at exactly the wrong time. The pattern was undeniable now. But I needed something bigger, something definitive. I needed to catch her in the act. The perfect opportunity came with the Miller account. It was a corporate fleet purchase, 20 vehicles for a growing tech company. The commission would be massive, enough to secure my position as top seller for the entire year. I had been working this deal for 6 weeks. Multiple meetings, negotiations, customizations. Everything was finally ready for the closing appointment. The night before the meeting, I stayed late to prepare all the paperwork. As I was leaving, I noticed Naomi's car was still in the parking lot, though I hadn't seen her on the sales floor. Something felt wrong. Instead of going home, I parked down the street and waited. An hour later, I saw her leaving through the side exit. The next morning, I arrived early to double-check everything. My heart sank when I opened the Miller file. Key details had been changed. The pricing structure was wrong. The delivery dates were impossible. If I had walked into that meeting with those documents, I would have looked completely incompetent. But I had backup copies of everything. I quickly printed the correct paperwork and made it to the meeting on time. The sale went through perfectly. That afternoon, Naomi approached me with fake concern. I heard there were some issues with the Miller paperwork. That must have been so stressful. Actually, everything went smoothly, I said with a smile. Her confusion was priceless. I started leaving digital breadcrumbs. Fake email drafts in my account with sensitive client information. Decoy files on my desktop with wrong meeting times. False entries in my calendar that I knew she could see. Every single trap was triggered. My fake meeting times became her real schedule blocks. My decoy client information started appearing in her notes. My false email drafts somehow got sent to customers, but from her account, not mine. She was accessing my private information and using it for her own benefit. The digital evidence was mounting, but I needed something undeniable. Something that would make her intentions crystal clear to everyone. That's when I created the fake couple from Portland. I built an entire backstory. Young professionals relocating for work, looking for 2 luxury vehicles, budget of $200,000 total. I mentioned them casually during a team lunch. They're flying in next Friday just to meet with me, I said. Biggest sale of my career if it goes through. Naomi's eyes lit up with interest. Over the next week, I watched her behavior carefully. She started asking the receptionist about flights from Portland. She volunteered to work late on Friday. She even dressed up more than usual. Friday morning, I called in with a family emergency. Then I sat in the coffee shop across the street and waited. At exactly 2 p.m., the time I had mentioned for my fake appointment, I watched Naomi position herself by the front entrance. She waited there for 30 minutes, checking her watch, looking increasingly frustrated. When no Portland couple appeared, she started making phone calls. I could see her through the window, gesturing animatedly. Later, I learned from Tyler that she had spent the afternoon calling every hotel in the area, trying to track down my non-existent clients. She seemed really worried about them, Tyler told me. Said you'd be devastated if something happened to such an important sale. Worried, right. That night, Naomi sent me a text. Hope everything's okay with your family emergency. Did the Portland clients reschedule? I replied, family's fine, thanks. Clients had to postpone until next month. Her response came immediately. Oh no, that's such a disappointment. Just let me know if I can help with anything. I stared at that message for a long time. She was offering to help with clients that didn't exist, for a sale she had tried to steal. The audacity was breathtaking, but it was also exactly what I needed. Clear evidence of her intentions, documented in writing. I screenshot the conversation and added it to my growing file. The trap was set. Now I just needed her to walk into it completely. The final phase of my plan required patience. I started being extra friendly to Naomi, sharing coffee breaks, asking about her weekend plans, complimenting her outfits. I wanted her to feel comfortable and confident. I'm so glad we can support each other, I told her one morning. This job can be so competitive. Absolutely, she agreed. We women need to stick together. While playing the supportive colleague, I was also documenting everything more carefully. I bought a small recording device and started keeping it in my pocket during important conversations. I backed up every file twice. I printed hard copies of crucial evidence. I created a timeline of events that was so detailed it could hold up in court. Most importantly, I identified allies. Tyler had noticed Naomi's strange behavior around my accounts. Our finance manager had questions about some irregular paperwork submissions. Even our receptionist had commented on Naomi's unusual interest in my client calls. I wasn't the only one who had noticed something was off. When the time came to present my evidence, I wouldn't be standing alone. But first, I needed one final, undeniable piece of proof. Something that would end this game once and for all. The opportunity came with the Williams family. They were a real family, looking for a real car with real money to spend. It was a straightforward sale, no complications, no special circumstances, just a nice family wanting a reliable vehicle. I scheduled their appointment for Thursday afternoon and made sure to mention it during our Monday team meeting. Looking forward to wrapping up the Williams deal this week, I said casually. Naomi perked up immediately. The Williams family? I think I spoke with them briefly last month. She hadn't. I had been their only contact from day one. On Wednesday, I got a call from Mrs. Williams. I'm sorry, but we need to reschedule, she said. Someone from your office called and said you had a family emergency. They offered to meet with us instead. My blood ran cold. Who called you? A lovely woman named Naomi. She was so concerned about making sure we didn't have to wait. I kept my voice calm. I appreciate Naomi's concern, but I'm available as scheduled. When would be convenient for you to meet with me? Oh, well, if you're sure you're not dealing with an emergency. I'm completely available, I assured her. We rescheduled for Friday morning. That night, I set up a recording device in my desk drawer. If Naomi was going to make another move, I wanted every word captured. The next morning, she approached my desk bright and early. I heard you had a family emergency yesterday? No emergency, I said cheerfully. Where did you hear that? Naomi's smile faltered slightly. Oh, I must have misunderstood something. You know how rumors spread around here. She was fishing, trying to figure out what had gone wrong with her plan. The Williams appointment got moved to Friday, I continued. They seemed a little confused about something, but we sorted it out. Confused about what? Something about a family emergency that didn't exist. I watched her face carefully. Strange how these misunderstandings happen. Naomi laughed, but it sounded forced. Communication can be so tricky in a busy office. It really can be, I agreed, especially when people are making calls they shouldn't be making. The words hung in the air between us. For a moment, her mask slipped completely. I saw calculation in her eyes, frustration, and something that looked almost like panic. Then the sweet smile returned. Well, I'm sure everything will work out fine. I'm sure it will, I said. That afternoon, I submitted a formal request for a meeting with our district manager. It was time to end this game. I had 6 months of documentation, digital evidence, witness statements, recorded conversations, and most importantly, I had finally caught her in an undeniable lie. The Williams family had been the final piece of the puzzle. Now it was time to show everyone what Naomi had really been doing. The meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday. I spent the weekend organizing my evidence into a clear, chronological presentation. Every incident was documented with dates, times, and supporting proof. Monday morning, Naomi was unusually chatty. You seem stressed lately, she observed. Everything okay? Just busy, I replied. You know, if you ever need someone to cover your accounts while you take a break. I looked up from my computer. Why would I need a break? Oh, no reason. You just seem like you might be overwhelmed. There it was. Even now, she was trying to plant seeds of doubt about my competence. I'm handling my workload just fine, I said firmly. Of course you are. I just want you to know I'm here if you need support. Support. The word made my skin crawl. That afternoon, I noticed Naomi having hushed conversations with our manager. She kept glancing in my direction, her expression serious and concerned. Whatever she was telling him, it wasn't good. But it didn't matter anymore. Tomorrow, the truth would finally come out. I went home that night, feeling lighter than I had in months. The nightmare was almost over. Tuesday morning arrived with unexpected drama. I was called into our manager's office before I even had a chance to sit down at my desk. We need to talk, he said grimly. My stomach dropped. Had Naomi beaten me to it? Had she made some preemptive strike? There's been a formal complaint filed against you, he continued. Allegations of unprofessional conduct and client interference. I stared at him. What kind of allegations? I can't discuss the details while the investigation is pending, but it's serious enough that I need to suspend you pending review. The room spun. This was exactly what I had feared, that Naomi would try to flip the script and make me look like the problem. I have a meeting scheduled with the district manager today, I said carefully. That meeting has been postponed indefinitely. I felt panic rising in my chest, but I forced myself to stay calm. Can I at least clean out my desk? You have 10 minutes. Security will escort you. As I walked to my desk, I could feel everyone watching. Naomi was at her station, typing busily, but I caught her watching me from the corner of her eye. She thought she had won, but she had no idea what was coming next. I had prepared for this exact scenario. While packing my personal items, I discreetly transferred all my evidence files to a secure cloud backup. Every document, every recording, every screenshot was now safely stored outside the company's reach. As security escorted me out, I made eye contact with Tyler. He looked confused and concerned. I gave him a subtle nod, the signal we had discussed. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and made 3 phone calls. First, to an employment attorney who specialized in workplace harassment cases. Second, to the State Labor Board to file a formal complaint. Third, to the Better Business Bureau to report unethical sales practices. By noon, I had submitted my evidence package to all 3 organizations. That afternoon, I received a call from the district manager. I understand there's been some kind of incident at your location, he said. There has, I confirmed. And I have extensive documentation of the real problem. I'd like to see that documentation. I'll send it to you within the hour. I uploaded everything to a secure file-sharing platform and sent him the link. 6 months of evidence, organized chronologically, with a detailed summary of events. Then I waited. The call came back 2 hours later. Can you be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? I'll be there, I said. The district office meeting was intense. I presented my evidence methodically, walking through each incident with supporting documentation. The recorded conversations were particularly damning. This is quite extensive, the district manager said, reviewing my timeline. How long have you been documenting these incidents? 6 months, I replied. I wanted to be absolutely certain of the pattern before making any accusations. He nodded approvingly. That was smart. These are serious allegations. They're also completely accurate. Every piece of evidence is verifiable. We spent 3 hours going through everything. By the end, his expression was grim. I need to conduct my own investigation, but based on what you've shown me, there will definitely be consequences. What happens next? You'll be reinstated immediately with full back pay. The other employee will be suspended pending our internal review. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. And the complaint against me will be dismissed. It's clear this was a retaliatory action. Walking out of that office, I felt like I could breathe again for the first time in months. The truth had finally prevailed. But the story wasn't over yet. When I returned to work the next morning, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Naomi's desk was empty. Word had already spread that she was under investigation for workplace misconduct. Tyler approached me immediately. "Are you okay? What the hell happened?" I gave him the abbreviated version, leaving out the most sensitive details. "I knew something was off," he said, shaking his head. "She was always asking weird questions about your clients." Over the next few days, more coworkers came forward with their own observations. Apparently, Naomi's behavior had raised red flags for several people, but no one had felt comfortable speaking up. "She made me feel like I was imagining things," our receptionist confided, "but she was always hanging around when Alex got important calls." The finance manager had his own concerns. Some of her paperwork submissions never quite made sense. Numbers would be slightly off, or client information wouldn't match what was in the system. It became clear that I wasn't the only victim. Naomi had been manipulating multiple people and situations to serve her own interests. The full scope of her deception was staggering, and it was all about to come crashing down on her. The internal investigation took 2 weeks. During that time, I focused on rebuilding relationships with my clients and getting my sales pipeline back on track. Many customers had been confused by the conflicting information they'd received, but most were relieved to have clarity again. The Williams family, who had been caught in the middle of Naomi's final scheme, ended up buying 2 cars instead of 1. "We're so sorry you had to deal with all that confusion," Mrs. Williams said during the delivery. "You've been nothing but professional throughout this entire process." My sales numbers bounced back quickly. Without the constant sabotage, my natural productivity returned to its normal high level. But the real vindication came when the investigation concluded. Naomi was terminated for cause. No severance, no references, no chance of return. The official report cited systematic client interference, falsification of records, and deliberate sabotage of colleague performance. She had destroyed her own career through her attempts to destroy mine. The irony was almost poetic. The aftermath brought unexpected opportunities. Our corporate office had taken notice of the situation, and they were impressed by how I had handled it. The methodical documentation, the professional approach, the patience to build an airtight case, it all demonstrated leadership qualities they valued. Within a month, I was offered a promotion to sales manager for the region. "We need people who can identify problems and solve them systematically," the regional director explained. "You've shown remarkable judgment and integrity under pressure." The new role came with a significant salary increase and the chance to mentor other salespeople. Ironically, I was now in a position to prevent the exact kind of situation I had endured. My first initiative was implementing a transparent client tracking system that would make it impossible for anyone to manipulate leads or interfere with colleagues' accounts. "This is brilliant," Tyler said, reviewing the new protocols. "Why didn't we have something like this before?" "Because no one thought we needed it," I replied, "but now we know better." Sometimes the best systems are born from the worst experiences. 6 months later, I received an unexpected message. It was from Naomi. The text was long and rambling, full of justifications and explanations. She claimed she had been trying to help and that I had misunderstood her intentions. She insisted that her actions had been taken out of context and that the investigation had been unfair. Reading it, I felt a mixture of pity and amazement. Even now, even after everything that had happened, she couldn't admit what she had really done. She was still playing the victim in her own mind. I didn't respond to the message. There was nothing left to say. Some people learn from their mistakes, others just find new ways to blame everyone else for the consequences of their choices. Naomi had made her choices. Now she had to live with the results. I deleted the message and moved on with my life. The best revenge, I had learned, wasn't getting even. It was getting better, and I had definitely gotten better. Today, I manage a team of 15 salespeople across 3 locations. My story has become somewhat legendary in our company, a cautionary tale about workplace sabotage and a success story about standing up for yourself the right way. New employees often ask me for advice about dealing with difficult colleagues. Document everything, I always tell them. Be patient, build your case methodically, and never let someone else's insecurity dim your own light. The notebook I started that day is still in my desk drawer. It reminds me that truth has power, but only if you're willing to do the work to preserve it and present it properly. Naomi taught me something valuable, even though that wasn't her intention. She taught me that my success wasn't dependent on anyone else's approval or sabotage. It was mine to build and mine to protect. I never saw her again after that final text message. I heard through industry contacts that she struggled to find another sales position. Word travels fast in our business, especially when it involves ethics violations. But I don't dwell on her fate. I'm too busy building something better. My team consistently outperforms every metric. My clients trust me completely. My colleagues respect my leadership. And every month when I look at the sales board with my name at the top, I remember that quiet girl who started taking notes in a spiral-bound journal. She thought she was just protecting herself. She ended up transforming her entire career.